So since I've now upgraded to a new drawer, I thought it was a good time to make myself a custom fridge slide. I sort of had a bit of a sketchy setup where I had my King's fridge slide, sort of the 900mm one, I think it was. And then I put like a little bit of extension on the back side of it. That way I can get to the back of the tub without having to climb in there because I'm lazy. But now what I'm gonna do is I've got some steel cut and I'm actually gonna make a 1400 long one. That way the fridge can sit at the back. I'm gonna have boxes, food, that sort of stuff at the front of it. I can pull it all the way out and I won't have to worry about climbing in. And it's gonna look a bit better. So I've got, these will be folded up and they'll mount onto the side of here and then the tub. And then we've got the main section, which will be folded up either side. I'll also be using some steel from down here. I'm gonna fold them up. I may or may not have forgotten to add the folds to the end, but I think it's gonna work out better because I'm actually gonna fold up a bit of 50 by 50 angle out of the excess steel down there. That way it's gonna be a little bit stronger and probably stop it from sagging in the middle a little bit, because I have gone with a 1.6 just to try and keep the weight down. Also, once it's been bent up, I'm gonna be cutting out a section that's gonna be hollow underneath where the fridge is. I'm just basically trying to cut as much weight as I can out of it. So when I'm out full driving, it's not so much dead weight in the back. So I guess we'll start marking it up. I'm gonna go to Nick from MBB Customs house tomorrow. I'm gonna borrow his bender and expertise in bending all this up on his big brake press, because I don't have room for one in here, unfortunately. So yeah, we'll get into it. So I'm gonna go through and mark my 50mm mark. It's gonna be my fold line on these two. Then I'm going to mark the center line on this one and then do a few calculations and work out how much I'm going to lose from the bend. I'm pretty sure it's the thickness of the bend, but I'll work that out and let you know. I'll then mark both of those fold lines, and then that's basically it for these two. I'm then going to go through and work out what strips I need for my 50-50 bends. Basically, I'm going to underlap it on that side, have it sticking up, and then I'll stitch weld it along the bottom and the side, just to give it that strength. I'm probably gonna end up doing a third 50 by 50 angle through the middle and just stitch weld that on as well. That way when the fridge is there, it'll probably, I'm hoping, sort of support the middle a bit better. I don't think it's gonna flex too much because it's pretty rigid stuff, like it's not too bad, but better off sort of safe than sorry. The last thing I wanna do is get halfway through the first trip in the Vic High Country and it starts dragging the arse out every time I'm trying to pull it in and out with it full of beers. I'm going to mark these out pretty loosely with the texter, and I'm going to go back through and mark them and actually put a hole punch in them, just so when I'm actually in the bender it makes it a bit easier to see the line. I'm also just going to scratch a little bit of these. Now I know everyone's gonna lose their minds. This is an old set I used just for this. I'm not doing anything intense and like to the micro of a millimeter, so don't freak out in the comments because I'm using this. I have a set square, but I can't find it, so this will have to do. Now they're all done. That's ready for the fold tomorrow. Let's find this center line of this other one. Put these up here. Probably throw through a bit of a time lapse in this one so you don't all end up bored. It's pretty boring stuff, really. So I'm down at Nick's house. He sort of run through with a bigger bit, made sure everything was perfect. I was actually pretty close, so I'm happy with that. I'm just gonna go through now and do some bends on the side angle that's gonna mount the actual slide to it. So I've got my angle finder set up, gonna bend them at as close to 90 as I can get, and then we'll go through and we'll bend the actual main fridge slide part and a few other bits and pieces. So let's get into it. Zero that. Beautiful. I'll get a set square and just double check there at 90 degrees. And then we should be good to go. These turn out pretty good. I've got it dialed in. So now I'm going to go through and bend up the main one and hope all the measurements work out at the end of it. This one's pretty crucial because if I fold it too wide, once the slides are on, it won't actually fit between the drawer and the slides. So we'll see how we go. It'll either work out perfect or I'll be ordering a new section of steel. Beautiful. Perfect. I'll take this out, do a few measurements, make sure that it's all good to go, and then I'll bend up my little clip-on drawer that I've been making. Then I can go home and start welding some stuff up. So what I'm doing now is I'm just measuring out the fold lines. I've left these until after I folded the main slide part, so I wanted to make sure they were going to end up at the same height, which ended up being 60mm off the underside. So I'll go through, bend the two ends up. I'll then cut them down to size once I get home. All right, let's head back over to the bender. That's those done. So this will sit on the underside of this. That way it'll sort of support the front of it a bit. That'll sit about here once I cut it down. I'm going to end up cutting the whole centre out of here. Get rid of all of this. That way it's going to be a lot lighter. So I'm back home now from Nick's and I go through, cut this angle down and then get it ready for welding. I probably won't weld it today because we're going to be out this afternoon, but I'll get as much done as I can beforehand and we'll cut it down, get it a bit of a dummy install just to make sure I'm happy with everything before I buzz it all together tomorrow or Monday. Throw on some earplugs and safety glasses. I don't wear, I've got the Dutch safety boots on, but I do like to see and hear, so we'll keep them protected. And that is flat. Beautiful. It's almost like I measured it. Alright, I'm going to go through and just give this a bit of a dummy setup, see how it looks. Do a couple of measurements, make sure the height's right, and then I think that's probably it for today, and I'll get back into it when I have some more time and I'll finish it off, and also I'll show you through the finished product and how it's looking, and we might do a little bit of a quick install in the car as well maybe when it's done. Alright, so as you see, it's pretty much how it's going to be assembled. I just wanted to get this in here. That's basically where the fridge is going to sit, allowing a bit of gap for the back handle against the back of the tub. I'll then probably mount a couple of tie down points to these so I can tie it down good, it's not going to move around. I then wanted to make sure I've got enough room in here to fit some pack out drawers, because when I go do cashies and that on the weekend, I do fill this with pack out instead of my fridge. So that's why I've sort of made sure I've made it as wide as possible. It can just fit a two drawer pack out, or the 3 drawers, and like the sort of slide open box. It won't fit the full box, which is a shame, but I don't really use that much anymore, so it should be all right. I've got it set at its final sort of height. It sits about 20 mil up above from the tub mounting point. That way when it slides open, it's not going to hit my tailgate. So basically now I've got to go through, I'm probably going to pop rivet these first and then stitch weld them. That way it's not going to move too much while I'm welding it. I'm probably going to leave this out for the meantime, because I'm not 100% sure where that's going to be until I have it in the car and actually put the fridge in it and sort of adjust it to suit. So I sort of want to make it so the fridge sits in pretty snug that way when I'm full driving. So I sort of noticed with the King Slide, when I was full driving, even though it was tied in sort of triangulated down like that, it still sort of moved around a bit. So I want to try and make it a bit snugger, because the poor fridge just sort of copped it from sliding around. So still got a bit of length either side. I'm hoping I should still be able to fit my ladder down for now until I change tub racks and go to a different tent. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. Would have been nice if I didn't forget the length on these. If I made it again, I would probably do that. But it has sort of added a bit of extra strength with that cupping underneath the steel. So it's probably going to work out better in the end. So now I have to weld it all up. I'll weld these seams on the inside so it looks nice and neat. I've then got to mount these to the mounting angle, and then I'll mount the actual fridge slide, and then I'll look at installing it in the car. I'm probably going to fully install it in the car before I send it off to powder coating, just that way if I do want to change stuff I can, because I don't want to go through and get it all powder coated and then I sort of can't actually change anything. So I've got it all clamped in place now. I'm just going to go through and weld it all up. Because it is thinner steel, I'm trying not to put too much heat in. I'm just going to stitch weld it, because at the end of the day, the strength is really there from it cupping under the steel, and I just want to glue it down so it shouldn't fall off. So I'll time lapse through this, that way it's not boring to watch, but let's buzz it all together. Excuse the crafty panda welding up on the corners. I really didn't want it to warp too much, so that way I've just sort of tacked it up. I'm going to come through afterwards and sand it all flush and blend it anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much how I've done it. So I'm going through now and just marking out where I'm going to drill the holes for the corners of the section I'm going to cut out. That way when I go through and cut it with a grinder, you don't get the ugly cross cut of the corners, and it ends up with a nice radius. Now I'm going through and just knocking the high points off with a flapper disc, and then I'll go through with an orbital and just smooth them over so they look like a nice square edge rather than a welded corner. It's time to mount these slide rails on. I'm going to mount them to the actual mounting angle first, and then once that's done, I'll go through and mount them to the actual slide itself. Ended up a bit short of time before heading away, so I didn't end up doing any more filming. But here's a few shots of how it turned out. I'm pretty stoked with the outcome. I end up throwing some boat flooring, sort of foam stuff in there as well, just to stop it from scratching up when things are moving around. So let us know in the comments what you think and what you think you would do better. Cheers.